Welcome, welcome, my dears, to a brand new video. I'm sorry it took so long. We had some inconveniences along the way. Please, please help me. Yes, welcome to an analysis of Alan Wake 2, a game that defined all genres, apparently. Now let's dive right to it. We are going to talk about some certain aspects of it, certain cores, let's call it that. But before we get started, you know the drill. Like the video, subscribe, and comment down below to feed the algorithm of YouTube, my friends, so that we can conquer the world and sacrifice all of you to our God. Let's begin. So, what are the aspects and cores of Alan Wake 2? What did it do? The first one is the combat system. Now, the combat system is not too complex, nor is it too simple as well. You have your simple third-person shooter, like Resident Evil 4 did. But unlike Resident Evil 4, it doesn't have that many enemy varieties, and it's not that hard or challenging of a combat system. But still, it will kick your ass. You can be sure of that. I know, because my ass was kicked too much. Yeah. So, what are the other aspects and elements? The combat system is making use of certain weapons and abilities, like the flare guns, the flash grenades, the things that Alan Wake 2 is known for throughout the years. You are, after all, fighting armies of shadows, or as the professional terms, the Taken. And the humans who have been taken over by the shadow and the dark world and the dark presence. Now, my friends, these enemies can be challenging because, unlike Resident Evil 4, the combat system of this game is not too merciful. The enemies will try to attack you, and unlike these other games, the dodge button is not that useful. If you are hit, you will be stun locked to some attacks that are straight up bullshit. Yes, bullshit. Believe me. Now, the combat systems still is good. The upgrade system is good for them, because if you upgrade your weapons, you can have a better variety of weapons and better chances of winning. So those are good ports. It's not too challenging, nor is it too complex of a system, but it's still a standard combat system. So we put that aside. But what are about the other elements? The world. The open world, apparently. Well, let me give you this. There is no open world in a technical sort of way. You have your straight up linear paths that you can take and must take. After some parts of the story, you will get to have some chances of running around and collecting collectibles. These collectibles are those launch boxes and the cult stashes. Oh, yes, cult. I'm reminded of my own cult. Those were the good old days where we stashed the hearts of the heathens in those stashes. We threw them in the rivers, the oceans, the good old days, man, the good old days. Society has come too far, man. I wish we could go back to those good days where we sacrificed the innocents like they were nothing. Anyway, getting distracted. Now, like I said, the collectibles help you upgrade or give you your ammunitions to help you support you in your quest. those are good ones, but probably my personal favorites, the manuscripts, are the best part of this game. The manuscripts are, as I guess, spoilers, written by Alan Wake in his the Dark World, and they are coming from the Dark World to the real world and are affecting the real world. Now I will talk about the story part later of this video. Now, my friends, you know that these manuscript pages talk about the events that have already happened or will happen. So you know that these are important. And probably the best aspect of these manuscripts is that it is voiced. Yes, you can read them or play the narration of them that is written by Alan. Or is it? Now, other than these manuscripts, you can have your simple upgrades, upgrading like ammunitions lying around everywhere. So the open world is good. It's not too like too complex or too hidden. These ammunitions or upgrade materials, none of them are hidden that well. But some of these stashes will require your attention and thinking, which I didn't have that many of them, especially those puzzles or those that required math. God, I hated those. I wish they never existed. Oh God, my math is so bad. Yes. So after those, our world is good. Our world is huge. You have three areas: watery, bright falls, and of course, what what were the others? Can someone help me? No, no one. Am I the idiot here? Okay, I guess. So what were the others? Bright falls, watery, and Cauldron Lake. That took too long for me to remember. Now, these three areas, and I guess some other small areas like the overlaps, if you can put them that way, these are the areas that you can go to. And they are huge in some aspects, and they are fun to traverse. You can acquire so many upgrade materials, so many story moments by exploring those areas. Now, like I said about the story, so let's get to it. What is our story? Now, our story is about, like I said, Alan Wake, but apparently 13 years after his disappearance. Now, our characters are Saga Anderson, a brave, powerful FBI agent with her partner, Casey. Now, these two are trying to discover what happened to Alan Wake, or I guess these murders that have been happening that are like really similar to the cases that have happened for Alan Wake. Like, you know, the cult of the world war that existed because of him. Now, my friends, these characters are lovable. The characters are so good. Believe me. I think I've played it throughout the Alan Wake in probably a week. After a week, I finished it. And I fell in love with these characters. This storytelling and these character buildings are phenomenal. Respawn did a great job of this creation of their creation. Now, my friends, some of you may wonder if the other characters, small ones, or even Alan, where is Alan? Isn't Saga the main one? Yes, Saga Anderson is the main character, but Alan Wake is not just a pussy here. He is the main character of his own story, like he was back in the beginning. And he is still a major character that is affecting the real world. His story is affecting Saga's world. Now we get to see what actually Saga, the impact of Saga is throughout the story. So again, spoilers. Now, Alan is trapped in the dark world. He is trying to escape, and he's trying to stop his doppelganger Scratch from going outside of this world. He is trying to write a story to get out of the dark place because he's been trying to do this non-stop, and the dark presence is constantly affecting his mind and making him forget about it. Now, Scratch here is not that important in the beginning part of the story. We go through so many chapters and we get to finally see that him trying to remember that he is writing a story called Return. Now, Return is about him escaping the dark world and reaching the outside world. And throughout these chapters, we can see him interact with someone called Saga Anderson. Now, why is she able to communicate with him? Why is she so special? Like the mind place that she has, literally a technique of her where you go inside her mind where she solves cases, which by the way, that mechanism is a good one. I love that mechanism of you putting down the clues everywhere, making all the clues cohesive and put together them to make a conclusion of the entire case. That is a phenomenal. I wish Sherlock Holmes would do that. Or I guess I wish there were more Sherlock Holmes games. Yeah. So she is special. Saga is a very special girl. But why is it? Who is she? No, she's an FBI agent, a very good one. She is a beloved mother, a beloved wife, beloved wife, and a good partner, and a smart detective. Now they get to Bright Falls, or I guess Cauldron Lake, to investigate a murder, apparently from the cult of the tree, that has been going on around, killing others and taking their hearts out. Now these cults, when you start the story, you say, okay, these guys are the bad guys. We are the good guys. But the story of Alan Wake 2 is not that simple. And I love that. The story of Alan Wake 2 requires your absolute attention of details, like minimalistic details, for you to get every piece of information out there. Because otherwise, you would get either too confused or thinking, oh, what the fuck was that? That did not make any sense. But if you could grasp these elements, these story parts, it will become one of the most best, or I guess the best story that is written throughout the year, or I guess the year that it came out. It was a contestant for the Game of the Year, of course. And I think it deserved that award for the awards that it got. I know Spider-Man fans. I'm a Spider-Man fan as well. But the story of Alan Wake 2 was so much actually better than Spider-Man 2. Although they are both good. So don't get me wrong. Now, my friends, the story of Alan Wake 2, after we started, we see that Saga Anderson is trying to investigate these murders. We get to have so many clues. We are introduced to the towns, these other characters that we actually, for the first parts, don't even care about. But then the story takes place, and then we say, oh, what? They say that, Saga, why are you doing here? It's so weird. Your daughter is dead. I thought you wouldn't come here. Like, bitch, what the fuck? My daughter is alive. Oh God, you know denial is a bad one, my girl. No, bitch, she's alive. What the fuck is going on? And there you have it. The story is like it zooms now. The speed of light is coming here and is showing you, it's shoving the story right in your face. Now we see that the story is taking place and is affecting her life. The people around her are apparently being affected by something. She does not remember even being there. The story continues. We are introduced to Alan, who is apparently outside of the dark place after, of course, defeating Nightingale, who is a Taken. But that is the first introduction to the Taken, and he's a really huge dude, and it took too long to kill him. Yeah, I died too many times. God. Now, my friends, after that section, we are introduced to Alan. We say, okay, Alan, Alan Wake, you've been gone for 13 years. What is going on? And he says, okay, man, listen, I wrote a story called Return, and it's affecting the world. And Scratchy, it might be outside. I don't know what's going on. Say, okay, we need, and then you say what? We need the clicker. With clicker? I need to write a story. I need the clicker, which is a light switch, I guess. And yeah, that's literally the sound it makes. And apparently, this clicker amplifies the effects of anything that the Alan is writing, and or at least the effects of the dark place. So, because the dark place and the effects of the worldly effects it has is entirely limited to only Bright Falls, Cauldron Lake, and Watery. It doesn't go outside of that. But if you if you use the clicker, it will amplify it and goes beyond that. It will have no limit, and that is what Scratch needs for his own ending, because he is Alan's doppelganger. Now, my friends, if you are wondering what the fuck am I saying, then you are an innocent boy or an innocent man or girl. And I'm not blaming you, because believe me, I was confused as fuck. Because when we were first introduced to Alan, he is a pussy bitch. And he says that, okay, my manuscripts, you have to get them all. Those are too dangerous. Scratchy has edited all my manuscripts, the things that I've wrote. Oh no, no, oh God, this is bad. Get them for me, please, please. Okay. Manuscripts, they are fun to find. The stories that exist in those pages is a good, really good, solid. Now, we get to see these manuscripts, but after the story, and we go through the stories of Alan too in the Dark World, where he was trapped in there. You say, what? Why is it different? Why is Alan still in the dark place? Isn't he supposed to be out? And yes, he is out. This is probably, I don't know, this part is the only one that confused me the most, because apparently it's a reflection of the world and reflections of the things Alan did. It's his past, the decisions he had in the past, and those things came to the truth, or came to the real life. Now, after some parts of the Alan story, we get to know now that Scratch is actually the one writing the story. The typewriter that Alan uses, that's actually the story Return is actually created by Scratch. And the actual scratches on the papers, the edits that existed in the story, is by the actual Alan. And that blew my mind. Like, what? I thought because these edits make this story so much crazier, so much scary, horror genre. But that is actually how a story should be. The story is about a horror story. So Alan is trying to make it a horror story and put a hero in there. Now, apparently, at the end of the typewriter, the one who wrote it, is actually Alan, and so Alan was who stopped Alan, and then edited it and made it all a horror. The Dark Place just sat there and used this man's fears against him, and made him create his own scratch, his own doom story. And you see, this is the confusion that the story brings, but still, the story is a great one. I enjoyed the heck out of the story. The story was an imaginative, creative story about horror beyond human comprehension, things that we should not even try to reach. Now, my friends, I talked about Alan, but like I said, what is special about Saga? Now, Saga Anderson, or the Anderson families, are espers. You know, those who go through the mind and try to read people's minds. They have the special abilities in their blood. And these blood allows them to not be affected or phased by the story. They get to see the truth of people, their own real thoughts, their emotions, everything. So that's the reason she's a good detective. And you get to know the secrets of her family. Her family actually is in Bright Falls. Her family, or her grandfather, is a singer of a fictional band called the Old Gods of Asgard. And my God, let me tell you this, the music of this game, unfortunately I cannot put it in this video because that would be copyright. The music of this game, and these exclusively made music for this game, is fucking amazing. Like, holy shit, every chapter ends with a banger of the music. Every one of them important and actually related to the chapter. Amazing. Now, my friends, Saga, like I said, she's important. She's the hero of the story. And she actually wanted to be the hero of the story because her kid will die according to the story that was written. She doesn't want that. So she will put herself in the shoes of the hero to save her family. And Alan is trying his best. Like, we get to see him struggling with his fears, the fear that Scratch is in here. But then eventually we get to know that Scratch actually was Alan the whole time. Who knew? I mean, we all knew. But I guess we didn't. So what happened was that Alan discovered Alice, his wife, was being harassed by the Dark Place. And by Scratch, but that wasn't Scratch. He was Alan's doing, trying to write the story, trying to write a return to get out of here. And the other Alan, the Alan that we are constantly playing, is trying to stop him. I know, it's really confusing. So the first Alan is writing the story. The second Alan is trying to stop him because he thinks this is Scratch. And then when he stops him, he comes to the realization, okay, I'm getting fucked up here. My man is in shambles. I'm the one who killed Alice, made her commit suicide. And that's one moment allowed the Dark Presence to take over him and make him Scratch. After that section, we try to save Alan. Saga gets thrown into the Dark Place through the lake, I guess, which connects to the Dark Place. She escapes from there. Alice actually tries to help her because she apparently allowed herself to be returned to the Dark Place to help Alan. So she helps Saga. They both return. They save. Alan Casey, who was taken over by the Dark Presence at the later stages of the game, and then put an end, a stop to him. But Can you put a stop to the dark sense? Can you destroy a shadow completely by putting a light switch in front of the shadow? Then what about the shadow that is behind you? Whenever the light exists, wherever it is, there will always be a shadow. You cannot destroy a darkness. You cannot destroy a powerful being that exists in another dimension. And that's probably the entire thing that they wanted to show from the story. But they stopped the story from happening. They stopped the mayhem that Scratch wanted to create. My friends, Alan Wake 2 is the magnum opus of Respawn. I guess some say Control is the one, but let me tell you, Alan Wake 2 did a marvelous job at this. It improved on so many things that Alan Wake 1 had, and Control even had. The horror, the combat system, the story, the music, oh, the world building, the characters, the design, the graphics, everything was phenomenal. Although the only criticism that I have for this game is that I wished that some of these side quests would have like been more important to the story. Like completing them is going to only give you answers on some other points to the story. Like how the cult of the tree get to know, okay, these guys are actually cult. Which cult calls themselves a cult? These guys are trying to protect they have been protecting the town for many years now. They destroy these taken that have come from the lake, from the dark pool, and by using the clicker, like Alan did in the first game, they destroy them. The only reason that the first one, which is Nightingale, came back to life and to hurt Saga is because they were interrupted by some random people that came to them when they were doing the ritual to destroy the Tinket. Now, my friends, like I said, the side quests, I wish they had more of an impact on the story. They did, but I wished for more. And the only one is the combat system. I wished it was a more fast paced. Like I wish my characters were a bit more faster. Because Saga is, I know Alan probably had more experience, but Saga is a professional FBI agent. So I wished her movement, speed, and probably her combat system to be a little bit more like Resident Evil 4. Now, my friends, I pretty much talked about every element that existed in this game. But one thing that still remains. What about the dark place? Does it still exist? The abyss that exists in that place. I'm I'm still stuck here. Please, send